I'm so grateful that you are here today and taking time out of your busy days to really pause, to reflect, to center yourselves in your own body and in your breath. Mindfulness is a skill. So this is the gym that one can come every week to practice those skills of mindfulness. So today, our topic is mindfulness for anxiety relief. So I'm going to talk a little bit about anxiety and fear. I'm going to talk about what they really are. What's the difference between anxiety? What's the difference between fear? And how are they different? How are they same? And I'll also talk about the common strategies of how people tend to try to manage their anxiety. I've been a psychotherapist for over 25 years. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. So this is one of the areas that I work with people a lot in terms of guiding them to build a different kind of relationship with their anxiety and with their fears, which is what we're going to be practicing today. So the first part is going to be talking about mindfulness a little bit, talking about anxiety and fear, setting the stage, and then we are going to do a mindfulness practice together. It'll be probably, just to give you an idea, it'll be about 15 minutes of mindfulness meditation, maybe 15-20 minutes. I tend to run a little bit on the long side. And then we're going to talk about your experiences and what you learned. And one big thing that is important for me in these groups is that everybody leaves at the end of the session with some kind of very simple brief practice that doesn't require hours sitting on a cushion or carving out even 15 minutes, even 10 minutes, but it's a very brief little practice that you can start focusing on just one thing at a time, one focus at a time, because the way the brain operates and the way it works is that it really needs these short spurts of shifting the pattern, doing something differently, and it needs those repeatedly. It's not necessary to really do long periods of meditation. Of course, there is a value in that too, but you can already create a huge difference for yourself just by these short little daily practices that take a couple breaths, couple minutes out of your day. So that's the plan for today. When you're starting meditation and you're not really sure what's supposed to happen, what's going on, the answer to that is that, well, sometimes we have different experiences. One day is very different from another day, right? In terms of one day, I'm able to really connect with my breath and have this beautiful, calming, relaxing experience. And other days, the body is restless. The mind is restless. It's that monkey mind running all over the place. And when that's happening, then we feel like, what am I doing wrong? And why isn't the thing happening that happened last time? And just because your experience was what it was, it doesn't mean you were doing anything wrong. You really weren't. Our bodies are at different places, at different times of the day, and depending on what's going on. And the key to mindfulness is really, the point is not really to get to a state of relaxation. So if we do meditation with the expectation that, okay, I'm going to calm my mind and my body's going to be relaxed, then there are going to be times when we are going to experience failure, because that is not the point. The point is the awareness. I'm just aware that I'm not able to connect with my feet and feel my feet from the inside out, just like I did last time. Isn't that interesting? So then you're just aware of that. I'm aware of my thoughts, restless thoughts, racing here, there, everywhere. Okay, I'm just noticing that. And so mindfulness is really about awareness and paying attention to whatever it is that is coming up without judging it. The other thing that I've noticed definitely for myself is It's easier when somebody's guiding. There's support, there's guidance, there's, okay, I can just relax and let myself float into this space. I have those same experiences too, both when somebody is guiding me in mindfulness, even with yoga. So I'm a certified yoga teacher. Yeah, I can pop in and do my own class anytime, but I don't like it. I like to be told, like, just somebody tell me what to do and I'll do it. Have a grace for yourself too, because you're just starting this. Like, it's a learning journey. I've been meditating for 18 years. I'm still learning it. So there isn't really an end point of now I have arrived here and now I know how to do this. There's so many layers to it, and it's a really beautiful place to be. And it's also honoring yourself. Yeah, it's great when we can meditate every day, but honestly, for me, there are days when I don't. And there are times when I know if I sit down and meditate right now, it's going to be a whole lot of like restlessness and a whole lot of thinking and stuff like that going on, because my days are so full and abundant. And then I make that conscious choice. Okay, right now I'm just going to focus on the life right in front of me. Meditating later then. So sometimes it's also like checking in with yourself. And for successful meditation practice, it's also important to figure out like what's a good time of the day. Like for me, it's early in the morning, the first thing. If I leave it to the late at night, I'm too tired. It's very unlikely. So also paying attention to that, like what would be a good time. My advice to people is do what works for you. So if that means it's 5 minutes a day, then you do that. And 5 minutes, it's better than no minutes. If it's 10 minutes a day, then you do that. If it's a day where I really can't fit anything, what you can do is incorporate mindfulness in everything that you do. Brushing your teeth. Most of us brush our teeth. So then you can make brushing your teeth a mindful moment. You are feeling the toothbrush. You're really connected to the experience versus your mind somewhere away. And then sometimes 10 minutes later forgetting, did I brush my teeth or not? Because we are not present. Washing the dishes. You can feel the water, the warmth of the water, the soap, the shape of the dish, and you're fully present to that. And that mindfulness. You can incorporate mindfulness in those ways. But what research tells us, I can't remember how long the sessions were in this study. I don't think they were very long. I want to say the sessions in this study was maybe 15 to 20 minutes of mindfulness for 8 weeks. And what came out of that study is that it really helped people be calmer, regulated nervous system, anxiety was lessened, people were just feeling more content and feeling more resilient, feeling like they're able to manage life stressors and having a little bit more compassion and joy and happiness and all these positive feelings. So we know this from studies that even 8 weeks of practicing daily mindfulness has a huge impact. And it actually showed in the brain scans as well, because nowadays researchers can look into the brain and they do know that the brains of like monks who've been living the life of meditation and all that look very different from people who haven't. But even the 8-week mindfulness practice already makes physical changes in the brain. I think that's pretty amazing. So we are brain architects and we're working on changing those neural networks in our brain. And because we know that there's brain plasticity. So all these practices, that brief moment of feeling my feet from inside, I'm practicing that. And I'm going to invite you to keep going to that place. It's learning to ride a bike. It's going to take some time. I want to really educate about mindfulness at the beginning of each of these sessions, because it's such a big thing, big concept. There's a lot to it, a lot of misunderstandings out there. I like this definition of Jon Kabat-Zinn, which says mindfulness means paying attention in a particular way on purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally. So those are all the components, the ingredients of mindfulness. Particular way means that it's non-judgmental, it's kind, there's this loving awareness there. So it's not that I'm just paying attention to something. It's like I'm paying attention from a place of compassion and awareness. And the point is to pay attention to the present moment. So we're not paying attention to the past. We're not paying attention to the future. We are fully alive and in the present moment, non-judgmentally. I also like what His Holiness the Dalai Lama says about meditation. He says training the mind to think differently through meditation is one important way to avoid suffering and be happy. I don't know if you've really observed or seen the Dalai Lama, but he is smiling all the time. He's just so joyful, so happy. He's exiled from his country. His people have been executed and killed and all these things, and he just radiates this joy. I think that's pretty remarkable. And he has actually declared this year the year of compassion, which is why I'm thinking next week that's going to be our topic, is how to nurture and cultivate compassion. There's a really cool movie. It's called Mission Joy, Finding Happiness in Troubled Times. It's with Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu. It's really remarkable. These two men who've gone through so much are just like little schoolboys having fun, and it's really eye-opening. So definitely, if you have a moment, go check that out. So mindfulness is present moment awareness from a place of kindness. There's these two wings of mindfulness. So one is awareness, the other one is loving kindness. So whatever we are aware of, even if it's, I hate my anxiety. So then we can have that loving awareness of that hate, that resistance towards anxiety. What mindfulness is not, mindfulness about anxiety is not saying that I shouldn't feel this way. Why can't I get over these feelings because I'm so worried and I'm so anxious? It means something terrible is about to happen. My anxiety is just, if I pay attention to it, it's going to get worse, and then I'm going to lose control and get stuck in it forever. Or thinking, I'm an anxious person, this is just who I am. Like anxiety defines me. Fighting anxiety, I have to get rid of this now, right now. Or I can't let anyone see that I'm anxious. Or what if I feel like this forever? Nowadays, what's going on? Every day, horrible news, every day. So many things, we can't even keep track of them. And part of the problem is that we are so connected through social media, phones. Like back in the day, I'm from Finland. So I remember back in the day when I was a little girl growing up in Finland, there are no cell phones, and my grandpa used to get the news in the newspaper. So that's a set of news that he got, the things that had happened already a couple days ago, and that was it. But this being so inundated with this danger, calamity, there's horrible things out there that are happening, which are very real and true. However, when we are getting bombarded with that, our nervous system unconsciously feels and believes that it's happening all the time, it's happening to me, it's happening right outside the window. Oftentimes, that just being exposed to all these news is really raising the anxiety level of people. And this is exactly why I'm actually doing these classes, is because we need to learn how to deal with this, right? We've never been in these sort of situations in the history of humanity, and we don't have the tools and the skills to deal with it, which is why we're here today, working with clients every week on this. And there's really like family disconnection happens. Siblings disconnecting with their siblings, and this divisiveness happening even in families because of somebody expresses their view and opinion about something. It's very deep. That sense of unsafety is very deep in the nervous system. And there is a way to manage all that. There is a way to live your life in that way, regardless of what's going on right now. And that's what we are all about. But the key here is, with all these things, noticing with these thoughts that we just mentioned, where there's judgment, there's resistance, there's fear. Am I in the past or future stories? Am I in this anxiety, like this worry, this fear, it's gonna last forever. And then when we think that it's gonna last forever, then what happens? Hopelessness, helplessness, despair, depression, really feeling down and feeling, sometimes coming to a point like, what's the point of this all? If this is the life experience, then I don't want to take part in it. But even there's a way out of that. And I want to talk about that today. And we're going to practice this today too. The solution is very counterintuitive. The solution is actually opening our heart in the face of fear, meaning opening, fully accepting the anxiety, the fear that is present. And I love this poem. I have some poems that I always share, but this is by Rainer Maria Rilke. You nights of anguish, why didn't I kneel more deeply to accept you? Inconsolable sisters, and surrendering, lose myself in your loosened hair. How we squander our hours of pain, how we gaze beyond them into the bitter duration to see if they have an end, though they are really our winter enduring foliage, one season in our inner year. What that says, everything shifts, everything changes. Everything has a beginning, everything has an ending, and with mindful awareness, we can even start noticing how the anxiety, the levels of it go up and down and go away, and I feel neutral, then I feel more scared again, and then maybe feeling a little more content. That there's this shifting and changing that's happening all the time. The problem is why we feel like it's gonna be forever. That thought is reinforcing that it's gonna feel like it's gonna be forever. Where we pay attention to is our life experience. So if we say, okay, it's gonna be forever, it's gonna be forever, it's gonna be forever, what are we reinforcing? We are reinforcing the experience that it's gonna be forever. So mindfulness allows us that, let's check that. Is that really the case? Because when we start going internal, we notice that there's movement all the time. It's that one season in our inner year. That's the opportunity that comes with mindfulness. So what is fear? Fear is anticipation of the future pain. Sometimes it's defined like that. Fear is, I don't know if you guys heard this, but it's a future evidence appearing real. Future evidence appearing real. There's something in the future of some evidence that something bad is going to happen that appears real. I love that acronym, fear, future evidence appearing real. No, it's not in the present. It's the mind's reaction to a threat, real or imagined, and saying like, yeah, there's some real threats nowadays. And then there's also a lot of things that the mind tends to hyper-focus on things, where the threat feels like it's immediately in my face, right outside the window, when it's not there. That's why I always like to say, what is happening right now? Am I safe right now? Like literally, like in this moment, a very concrete answer to that. Am I safe right now? And unless we are being actively attacked in the moment, the answer is yes. It's really okay. Am I safe right now? I'm sitting here. I'm noticing my breath, feeling the warmth in the room. Am I safe right now? I'm safe right now. And so part of that helpful work could be also like, sending that loving kindness and compassion to all the people who cannot answer that question, that yes, I'm safe. Because you are right, there are a lot of people right now who are not actually safe. They cannot answer it like that. So for those people, any being, any human being, any sentient being out there, we can send our love and compassion. May you be safe. That's coming from the metta practice, metta meditation, which we're going to do one of these sessions as well. But metta is basically this sending of loving kindness and well wishes to everybody in this world. When you feel that stinging in your heart and that compassion that can feel so overwhelming, you can just say, may you be safe. May I be safe as well. But it's not easy. It's not easy being a human with all these things happening and going on. Like we've noticed, and we're going to get to our practice here, is that there's two main strategies that people try to do to cope with their anxiety, which is the avoidance strategy, which is I'm not going to do this, avoiding going to a party, avoiding asking for promotion. For some people, it's avoiding going to the grocery store, avoiding on a freeways, especially if there's been some panic attack, something traumatic happening. Sometimes there are groups of people right now that are avoiding going outside, avoiding going to their place of work because there's some real danger and fear there. For some of us, it's avoiding putting off paying bills or opening the mail or things like that. So there is that strategy of avoidance, which typically, when it's a thing that, okay, we can, let's say that, yes, it's safe to go to the grocery store, but I have anxiety going to public places. What happens in that avoidance is, yes, of course, it alleviates anxiety because we're not faced with whatever the source of the anxiety is. However, it's reinforcing the fear. So anxiety in the immediate moment goes down. However, the fear goes up because in the brain, it remains as a scary situation. The brain kind of learns to think that, it is dangerous to go to the grocery store. It's dangerous to open the mail. So the fear goes stronger over time. And every time we avoid, we are actually feeding. We are feeding the anxiety. We are feeding the fear. The other strategy is controlling, trying to really perfectionism, trying to make things perfect. A lot of my clients, they are really stuck on social media. They are trying to read everything about the news and what's going on. And they're really anxious and afraid because there's so much. And it's really one-sided too, because there's also a lot of beautiful things happening in this world as well. But that obsession and sometimes even dependency on getting really addicted to this bad news, it's a way, what's really underneath that is trying to control the situation. The more I know, the more I feel like I have control over it, which of course, if we really look at it rationally, we don't have a control of a lot of things. Trying to control anxiety is also futile. It's exhausting, it's impossible, because we can't control a lot of the things that we are trying to control. But again, controlling anxiety is fueling it, feeding it. That is why we have this experience of people. I work with people, they're like, how long have you had anxiety? Ever since I was 5, 6 years old. The reason for it is because the thought patterns keep fueling it, keeps going. Of course, something that we keep giving attention to and energy, it's gonna be there. But we're gonna do something different. So we said, and this is the words of Tara Brach, is opening our heart in the face of fear. We're gonna practice that today. There's a beautiful story that I resonate. It comes from Buddhism. When the night of the Buddha's enlightenment goes, he was a prince who lived in a palace, had a perfect life, and was really sheltered from the suffering and pain, even death and dying, illness, disease. He was protected from all that until one day he escaped the palace, went to the real world and saw dead bodies, or somebody being sick, somebody who was hungry. And he realized there's so much suffering in the world. And then from there on, he went on to the path of trying to find, why is that happening? Why are we suffering? And on the night of his enlightenment, he was sitting under a Bodhi tree. So he just said, I'm going to sit here as long as I need to find the answer, to find this place, find answers to why do we suffer and what is the solution for that. And as he was doing that, Mara, there's a deity called Mara, who is the killer or the bringer of death, that was like a demon that was really taunting him. And he was taunting him with all kinds of armies of demons and sending thunder down. He was trying to send him visions of beautiful ladies and trying to entice his passion, saying, you can't do this, like making fun of him. You can't do any of this stuff. And at the time, he just sat there. He just sat and faced all the demons. And the demons, really, everything that Mara sent Buddha's way are really our own anger, our own fear, our own resistance, our own jealousy, our own self-doubt. That's really what Mara is all about. We are facing our own fears. But in the end, Buddha just resolved to sit there and be with that. And from that, there comes to saying, like, inviting Mara to tea. So the stories goes on and he becomes the Buddha and starts all these things. But he would see Mara lurking, just like our fear and our anxiety lurks around. Mara would lurk around. Just like the anxiety can just get a panic attack and just hit us in the face like that. And it's lurking around. And that's a moment when we invite Mara to tea. And this is not just something, a cute little story from 2,000 years ago. This is actually also what science says, that how we get to handle anxiety is by facing, accepting, and being aware of it. Because fighting or avoiding anxiety, what it does is that it activates the fear center called amygdala in your brain. And when we do that, either avoiding or fighting, it keeps the anxiety cycle going. It sends a message to the amygdala saying, yes, we should be afraid. We should be scared. We should be anxious. Okay. So that's what I mean when we feed the anxiety. Now, when we turn towards anxiety with acceptance, opening, spaciousness, now brain goes into a regulation mode and we use our prefrontal cortex. Now, instead of activating the amygdala, I'm pointing here because they're inside both sides of the brain, inside here. But when we accept and embrace and face the anxiety, now we are using our prefrontal cortex, which is executive functioning of our brain, where self-regulation happens and it puts the brakes on the fear responses. So yeah, we have this 2,000 years ago, they already knew how to do this, and now we have the brain science to also prove it. Definitely, they have also proven that mindfulness is one of the best ways to do this. So let's practice. I'm going to invite you to take a couple deep breaths here. Let all that go. That was a lot of talking, a lot of information. Begin to get settled in your space. Gently close your eyes or have them softly open. If you have your eyes open, gaze down. We want to drown out all the light so that you can turn your attention inward instead of looking at me or anything else. Finding a comfortable posture, sitting upright but relaxed. If you're lying down, that's actually okay too. But whatever position that you are on, Finding yourself comfortable and relaxed, allowing your body to feel grounded. Taking slow, deep breaths. And with the exhale, releasing tension. Feeling your body in the here and now, the weight of your body on the chair or sofa or bed or wherever you are. Noticing the rhythm of your breath. Going back to what we talked about earlier. Just becoming aware, I am safe right here, right now. This breath, and then this breath, in this very moment, I'm safe, I'm okay. Relaxing the flesh around your eyes. Letting your eyeballs float gently in their sockets. There's these little muscles behind our eyeballs that can tend to get very tight, so allow those to rest. Perhaps taking a moment with receptive awareness to start noticing the sounds around you. Noticing how the sounds are arising and disappearing. They're coming and going, and you're just listening. Finding the sounds that are closest to you. And the ones that are furthest. There are beginnings and endings of the sound. There are spaces between the sounds, so I'm going to invite you to pay attention and be aware of all that. Just relaxing and opening into the awareness of all the sounds around you. Also noticing how the breath is coming and going. The breath is rising and falling. If your mind wanders away from focusing on the breath, gently bring it back, that loving kindness, gentle little guidance of a puppy dog who's gone and sniffed things way too far. Our mind is curious like that, so bringing it back. Noticing how the breath dissolves into space, white space around you, with your breath, the sounds. And you're right there on your seat, on your couch, wherever you are. Your awareness mingling with this endless space. Absolutely open and boundless, like the sky. Get a sense of that right now. Simply resting in that openness. Doing nothing. Inhaling and exhaling. Being aware of the spaciousness and openness that surrounds you. And from this place, we are gonna meet Mara, just like the Buddha was sitting under the Bodhi tree. You can meet your own Mara here. We're gonna invite him to tea. We're gonna invite him to pay a visit. If it serves you, you could even imagine yourself sitting under your favorite tree, feeling grounded and safe and secure, supported, big roots in the ground, protecting foliage around you. Choose a situation that you feel anxious or worried about and investigate it. Breathing in deeply and easily. You're just investigating and noticing what's the worst part of this situation. What am I really afraid of? And you gently allow all those fears and worries that you might be avoiding or controlling to just, please come here. I've got room for you too. And you're just watching the sensations in your body. Not judging, not labeling, just feeling your body from the inside out. Paying attention to your throat, your chest and stomach. How does the fear expresses itself in my body? And you're inviting the fear. Be as much as you really are. Take as much space as you need right now. I got you. Because I am infinite, spacious awareness. There's space in that even for our fears and anxiety. Sensing the space right now that holds your experience here. If at any point it feels too overwhelming or it's too much, I'm going to invite you to, it's okay to open your eyes and get present to the room, noticing the colors where you are. Or you could just simply return to your breath. So notice that you don't have to push yourself either. Something is too overwhelming, too much, you can return to your breath. If it feels okay for you to continue, then you can notice where you feel it in your body. What is the shape and size and color? This too belongs. I can be with this. Breathing in, you contact the immediate sensations with kind and clear attention. And breathing out, you merge into a boundless awareness that has room for all of life's fears. Just a couple more breaths here before we come out of this meditation, using your breath to allow yourself to touch the sensations of fear, befriending it, cradling it like a baby. I care about this pain. I care about this suffering. You too are understood. allowing whatever your experience right now just to be as it is. Deepening your breath here, in through the nose. Exhale it all out. A couple more times. Really deep inhale to your belly. Open my mouth, exhale like a dragon, making that sound. Last time, in through the nose. Strong exhale out the mouth, letting your experience go. Allowing the breath to return to its own rhythm. Taking a moment here just to reflect on your experience without judging it. Whether it was good, bad, successful, not. It just was, it just is. And then whenever you are ready, starting to come back to this room this time. I'm gonna ring these wind chimes just to help you wake up your body a little bit. And one more breath. Listen to your body if it wants to move or stretch. Maybe arms around the head. Inhaling and exhaling down. Listening to your body, maybe neck rolls. Cat and cows with the upper chest, pushing your chest forward, inhaling and exhaling, rounding your back. Chin comes to chest. Shaking the hands if it feels okay, kind of bringing some energy and life back. Okay, excellent. The truth is the nervous system does need the support sometimes of another person, of another, like we talked about, this guiding, having that sense of being guided and cared for. So the practice for this week is this idea of inviting Mara to tea, which means when the anxiety is here, that you pause, you don't run away from it, you don't fight it, you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna sit here. I'm just gonna just be here with whatever it is, getting very present to the sensations in the body. And noticing those without judging them. So when you feel that, let's say it's that sensation in the stomach, for example. So when I say noticing it, so noticing doesn't mean, oh, I have anxiety in my belly. Instead of saying that, oh, I feel butterflies or tingling, I feel pressure or heaviness in my belly. So notice the difference. One is judging, labeling it. The other one is the direct experience of it. If you have anxiety and you wake up and you can't go back to sleep, definitely something like, okay, let me just be with this. Deep breaths in and out. And just remain, like what we also did in this is this, we created this open spacious awareness. We started all the sounds, close sounds, further sounds, and when you connect with that, then the anxiety and the fear has a little bit of a bigger container to be. So it's, if I have a teaspoon of salt and I'm going to put the teaspoon of salt in this cup, yeah, I'll probably taste it. It's probably gonna taste really bad. If I take the same teaspoon and I pour it into a pool of water, a bigger container, we're not gonna notice that. It's just so that's what anxiety and fear needs, is a bigger container, and your awareness and your consciousness is that container. So we either contract, so anxiety, typically what happens is our mind and our body contracts, tightens, and we wanna relax and open, create that spaciousness for it.